Etría. An assassin. An assassin sprints through buildings, tries to hunt his prey. Speed is his ally, and so is accuracy despite his blindness. Your death. Your death will never be forgotten. Your inspired millions. Your death inspired a revolution. Your death will forever be in the history books. It's sad. It's sad to see just how much history repeats itself, especially its tragedies, which continue to affect the lives of millions. That was the last night. That was the last light he would ever see, the lights of mecha beams being shot straight into his eyes, and now he's known as the Grim Reaper for his thirst for revenge and lust for death. A warrior stands. A warrior stands on a single leaf that floats on a vast river. His concentration and focus is one that'll inspire millions. As it stands, the system will forever be the enemy of the poor and the ally of the rich, never providing a single sense of balance. The hands of the dogs. There's nothing to worry about, say the privileged, as the oppressed continue to fight against the system that continues to kill them through poverty, drugs, experimentation, and other forms of violence, the most prominent being the brutality at the hands of the dogs. The fist shines. The fist shines green and eventually turns burning red as the warrior continues to grow strong, wings of fire growing in the back, and a sword full of hope emerging from his hands. Nations full of pride. Nations full of pride and thirsting for power send warriors in mech suits to fight in a tournament that'll see them explore worlds never really explored by man. Red blood flows. Red blood flows across the concrete after dogs violently push a senior to the ground. He tripped and fell, read the report, but everybody saw the video, and they will continue to share it across the web until justice is served. A storm of fists. A storm of fists, knees, shoves, jumps, and dances fueled by a hardcore bass and duo provides yet another memorable experience for the youth of Maya. Through his food. Through his food, he manages to conquer the hearts of all his people, from his native cuisine to foreign ones. He masters them all. Those hands make art full of love, and everybody can appreciate it. Adrenaline-fueled teens. Adrenaline-fueled teens gather all of their energy as they displayed their powers of resistance in 12 long hours that will remain in their island's history books. Two young teens. Two young teens fall in love after helping a senior from a gang attack via food and resistance. The young couple connect in a story that'll lead them to a separation fueled by lies due to an Olympic-style competition where countries fight for power over the world. Friendship turns to love. Friendship turns to love. Love turns to happiness. Happiness turns to tears. This is the story of a young love that was never explored. Five rivals turn into the League of Warriors who will save the universe from impending doom in a tale fueled by revenge, love, friendship, and the thirst for power. I can't breathe. I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. The last words of various people who have died at the hands of police brutality, but many still fail to understand the problem. These voices speak the truth. Listen to their stories. You just need to listen, which the people and the system have failed to do for hundreds of years. Nothing is permanent. Nothing is permanent. Life is always changing. We eventually become adults. Eventually you'll have to take some form of responsibility for your actions. Scrambled eggs. Scrambled eggs, bacon, and a little bit of bread. This breakfast was made by hands of love, the hands from the woman that gave birth to me. These words. These words can have a lot of power behind them. I try to use them for good, but sometimes you just gotta have fun with them. There she rests. There she rests, naked, cell phone in hand, looking at the latest news, and I just write away these thoughts, admiring her natural beauty. They play. They play war games all their lives, thinking shooting is fun. They join the police or the armed forces thinking shooting is fun. They become oppressors and killers because shooting seemed fun. How interesting is our memory. How interesting is our memory, often looking back at things as if we never did anything wrong until we get to see other POVs, and even then we often fail to acknowledge our flaws. How interesting can our memory be? The heart of the warrior. The heart of the warrior is torn between his longtime friend, whose love has always been present in his heart, and the love of a fellow warrior who has suddenly inspired him to be a much better warrior. It's a game for them. It's a game for them, this martial arts thing. They've fallen in love with the art form, and they've fallen for each other via its beautiful ways. A young innocent black man. A young innocent black man is arrested in front of his wife. Hear her shrieks as she slowly loses their only sense of hope for a brighter future. A young woman is abused. A young woman is abused by power-hungry pigs who seek nothing but power, but the love of a warrior will forever change her manipulated mind. A peaceful protester. A peaceful protester stands in front of a wall of soldiers. A flower is put inside the rifle of a fully armed soldier. The rifle's trigger is pressed. In a pool of blood, the corpse of a peaceful protester lies. A group of youth. A group of youth dance to the rhythms of post-punk produced by a band Del Patio that'll forever impact the little underground scene that has always cherished their contributions to art, culture, and a sense of fun. No poems ever written. No poems ever written, no stories ever written, no books ever written, but he looked upon those who actually followed through their dreams. The young man became a walking irony. Pushed over by society. Pushed over by society, never really aided for his mental issues, always denied justice, always denied love. What could have been to help the jester a normal person? As the clown. As the clown shot fires across the circus, a little kid would be traumatized for life, eventually ruining the life of an otherwise normal adult. Power, honor, pride, legacy. Power, honor, pride, legacy, these are just a few of the traits carried by the Hanzo sword used by the yellow-dressed former bride. A bullet slowly falls. A bullet slowly falls to the ground as a little kid's life is forever changed in the matter of a second. Love, hatred, irony, and more. Love, hatred, irony, and more are shared across the web as more and more videos of police brutality surface, and they cannot be ignored no matter how hard you try. He remembers her smile. He remembers her smile, hugs, food, and other forms of love in every single fist he swings as a matter of survival, pride, and honor. Loud laughter. Loud laughter is heard across the fighter's mind. A little boy cries for his mother inside the fighter's mind. Fists fueled by shame try to destroy the mind of the weakened fighter. An orange face. An orange face with golden hair lies to his country once more. Fury and rage in the form of peace continues to protest injustice. An orange face with golden hair continues to lie and uses violence against peace. Burning sensation. A burning sensation fuels the heart and hands of the poet as he continues to leave his mind, body, soul, and spirit onto multiple canvases. Hear the sounds. Hear the sounds of psychedelic fueled Latin jazz and tell me you don't want to move your feet to the rhythm alone or in pair or in group. Tell me you don't, and I will show you a liar. Hear the laughter. Hear the laughter of every anime villain ever, and you will find somebody looking for a justified beating. Countries come together. Countries come together in a tournament every 4 years looking for a championship. For many, it is a fun distraction from life's difficulties. For others, it is a search for pride and honor, especially for politicians who look to measure their dicks to the actions taken by athletes. Corruption fuels the actions. Corruption fuels the actions and words of a powerful man looking for power, even if it means destroying the lives of millions to keep the lives of a certain few comfortably. And from the shadows. And from the shadows emerges a warrior and poet looking to keep his country's pride intact. Mind, body, soul, and spirit. Mind, body, soul, and spirit are put through the dirt as a young warrior looks to keep his father's name in the halls of history. Smoke, dirt, fire, tears. Smoke, dirt, fire, tears, death, putrefaction. A bomb was dropped not too long ago. These were their remains. A loud burning roar. A loud burning roar is felt across the skies after a noble warrior gains another victory at the hands of corruption. Hear the laughter of corruption. Hear the laughter of corrupt, devilish madmen as young warriors struggle to fight against their injustices, which have continued to keep their communities on the side. She drinks yet another. She drinks yet another cup of coffee, and I worry for her heart and overall health as every single drop of caffeine continues to drive up her heart rate. We sit together. We sit together eating the piece of art we've made together. It's another way of making love. Hopefully we can do the more traditional way of making love later in the night. The shower is setting. The shower is setting. The kisses are the action. We're the protagonist. The possibility of getting pregnant is the conflict. Passion is the theme. The rain pours. The rain pours and I just want to sleep, but the mind doesn't stop building. It continues to write, paint, shoot, edit, create. So I just let it take over until I have nothing more to say for a few minutes. My girl and her friend. My girl and her friend smile. That's a picture I see every day that serves as a bit of inspiration as I sit in front of the computer canvas to spit words in the form of poetría or stream of consciousness as a form of practice, fun, experimentation, or expressing a message. I remember those days. I remember those days where trying to capture monsters was a hobby. Oh, what simple days. Nothing really to bother me except what others would think. But nobody thought it was weird, as they were also a part of the process. A red fish flip-flops. A red fish flip-flops in the middle of the ground. It is later splashed with water and a bit of gold. The fish turns into a dragon that becomes the protector of the land that saved it. Snow falls across. Snow falls across the forest, but it doesn't turn white. It stays green. What is happening? Asks the traveler, and out of nowhere appears a flying beast rumored to be the land's protector, and he tries to hide while writing mental notes of the appearance that'll never be believed by his fellow man. A little cockroach. A little cockroach struggles to come out of the bed and work on his latest comic books, where B-movies, where wolves fight samurais looking to protect the land of the poor. An intergalactic entity. An intergalactic entity destroys the vision of all those who worship it with a single flash of its own eyes. Brains are then the target as he smells away their thoughts, memories, and experiences, leaving the human race with nothing but useless bodies. 3 figures bring gold. 3 figures bring gold to a creature that's never been seen before, and peace is born between humans and the surreal entity. What a miracle has been achieved. Peace in times of fear without the use of violence. A stack of shoes. A stack of shoes tells the story of a young woman who expresses herself via fashion. The colors range from all sides of the spectrum, and so do the status and size of the shoes. It's an autobiography just waiting to happen. The bookshelf. The bookshelf is full of ideas just waiting to be explored and published, but the poet's brain can't do more. It needs a break before moving on. In the clouds. In the clouds you see many things, from ships and animals to newfound inspiration for a simple prose poem like this. Images come together. Images come together randomly and are pasted equally as random as the artist seeks to create something new out of something that already existed, much like a lot of the ideas that are eventually published. Fireworks strike. Fireworks strike the skies, and a young couple sit in the tall grass telling stories and jokes, creating an experience that they'll never forever remember after a few kisses. A fire serves. A fire serves as the only form of light for the young man who seeks refuge from the hatred that follows him. A little monkey. A little monkey serves as the one fortune teller for an island full of scared monsters looking for a brighter future. 3 dragons. 3 dragons rise from their time in somber sleep to fight against each other and see who will reign for the next 100 years. Fragile, so fragile. Fragile, so fragile. We never thought something like this would happen, where we're so fragile, and fear and death has been the biggest statistic this year. Stacks of pages. Stacks of pages mount up, and the poet continues to write, not caring for the amount of text he's been building. You've got to wonder just how in the hell he gets organized, as this is not the only way he puts away his thoughts. These keys. These keys serve as tools scratch that, a form of portal that'll allow me to express every single emotion, thought, feeling, idea, story, and whatever pops to mind. He touches his nose. He touches his nose, constantly driving fans to extreme states of drunkenness, which leads to experiences that'll never be forgotten. The red marker. The red marker takes away goals and responsibilities that'll need to be accomplished on a daily basis. Vast amounts. Vast amounts of weed, rap, sex, violence, and stories of hardships are expressed through funk-driven West Coast beats that'll change generations to come. Empty, unaccomplished. Empty, unaccomplished, a disappointment to myself. I hide away in music to try and stop thinking, but it doesn't work. I close my eyes, but it doesn't work either. Should I jump out of the window? Will it help? Will it hurt? Loud roars and screeches. Loud roars and screeches stop the poet from continuing, hands in ears, eyes closed, trying to ignore the sounds. Nothing works, so he continues to write, using the sounds as inspiration. Thoughts keep running. Thoughts keep running, and the headache keeps developing, and the voice keeps saying, keep going, and I stay awake and continue writing and looking for ways to be productive so I don't feel like a sack of shit at the end of the day. Every day we see. Every day we see our so-called leader to continue to serve as an image of the worst of humanity, and a lot of us aren't surprised anymore because we knew this would happen. Sadly, there are those who continue to worship him as if he were a god or a saint. I am so in love with you. I am so in love with you, I'll give you whatever. I'll give you all my love. I'll be with you in this life and the next. I'll be with you forever, babe. I'll give you all my love when things are good or bad, or happy or sad, like Marvin would sing. I'll give you my love forever. Yes, I will. Oh yes, I will. The weird and unusual travels. The weird and unusual travels across the web behind hidden identities, as all forms of expression come about from hatred and happy to the often surreal building large amounts of communities all across the world. A decomposing hand. A decomposing hand lies on the ground. All sorts of insects crawl around it. Camera flashes are heard multiple times. A haunting voice tells the story of a series of murders and grave digging happening around 1970s Texas. Those kids never knew what their fate would bring. Feeling like I'm being sleep powdered by Vile Plume, sung by Jigglypuff and hypnotized by Hypno all at the same time, and I just want to write, but the body is just begging for a bed in order to rest like a Snorlax. Water drops hit my windows. Water drops hit my windows and thunder strikes burst through the skies as I write these texts. They are a symbol of the chaotic state of the world. It's morning. It's morning of the first without lockdown, and there's a peculiar atmosphere that can be felt. Fear? Trust? Both and more? I don't know, but something weird is amidst. Back in the late 60s. Back in the late 60s, huge monsters battled for greatness in an island. Back in the 90s, martial artists using giant robots did the same. Who will be the next to follow these footsteps? It only takes a matter of pride, honor, and power for it to happen once more. Happiness, celebration, fear. Happiness, celebration, fear, disappointment, pichaera, 5 expressions that conquer the streets and beaches of P***R as decisions are made by politicians. A nadie le importa ya. A nadie le importa ya, a nadie le importa el estatus del momento, solo quieren vivir su vida sin preocupación alguna. Decides ahorrar y te entiendo. Decides ahorrar y te entiendo, pero cuando se trata de sobrevivir hay que cambiar ciertas rutinas. El viento sopla. El viento sopla todas las letras y el poeta trata de recogerlas para crear piezas nuevas y encontrarle sentido a la vida. El celu muere poco a poco. El celu muere poco a poco y el poeta anciano busca guardar otra pieza en forma digital, pero se muere, la tecnología y los llantos del poeta cubren el escritorio, hasta que llega su nieto el poeta y le demuestra que el poema se guardó en las nubes y que todavía tiene existencia. Nods and winks. Nods and winks to all as the governor wears some old school shades that he's helped sell all across the globe. I look at the number. I look at the number of pills I will consume per week, 28 in total, and I just worry for my body, much like my dear worries for me daily. So write down a note. Ask the doctor for an appointment, so I can check my pills per week if possible. Bullets fly. Bullets fly, the family hides. A splash of red covers the parents' faces. A child falls to the floor. Cries are heard across the city. Watch, 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 watch. Watch, 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 watch. Consume, 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 consume. The same shit every single day. That's all she does, and I'm just disappointed. But if she's happy, I'm happy. Showers of sweat. Showers of sweat pour down the girl's face as threats of nuclear war become very real. Across the street. Across the street, there's a cat covered in yellow and orange collars, looking at a long-tailed rat. It is a Sergio Leone standoff without the epic music, and the poet sits patiently looking to find who'll make the first move, but he misses it, for he was too busy writing down these words. A young band. A young band from LA forms like Voltron to take on critics from all across the globe who criticize their work as worse than lo-fi demo cassette quality sound collage. Poco a poco me voy. Poco a poco me voy quedando sin cueros, el estrés de todo en la vida me ha llevado a una vida sin manos, pronto me quedaré sin brazos y luego de eso sin cuerpo, canibalismo propio mezclado con body horror de Cronenberg en vida real. The young man mops away. The young man mops away across his apartment. The techniques he learned from his mother and grandmother come to fruition when he cleans his new home. It's as if he's invented a new martial art, and he displays his mastery of it. Loud claps are heard. Loud claps are heard across the young couple's apartment as they're taken into a paradise city filled with all sorts of rock and roll, mayhem, and hooliganism. Her heart pounds fast. Her heart pounds fast and she can hardly breathe, and I try to get dressed as quickly as possible as she goes through another cardiac episode. Minutes later, she tells me to stop by the road because she feels better. And as I write this, she smiles watching The Office, but I just worry for her, as I'm sure she worries for me and my epilepsy. Water helps me feel better. Water helps me feel better, so I help her drink more of it. Hopefully, she'll try putting soda and coffee more out of her daily consumption because both of these affect her heart condition. I kiss her leg. I kiss her leg, showing a bit of love. I wish I could show it in more physical ways, but she can't right now. So I read her poems and washed the dishes and tried to learn how to cook, showing love in more varied ways. Two men try. Two men try to get energized in a competition where they try to show their greatness towards others, but instead they're made fun of and are taken pictures, which serves as forms of entertainment for the rest of the workers. A nice arroz. A nice arroz with all sorts of meats and some chicken on the side to fill us up in these days where we must avoid spending so much money because the future is uncertain. Puke covers the floors. Puke covers the floors. A middle-aged man lies on it. Beers and other forms of alcohol rest on the kitchen counter, living room, and bedroom. The middle-aged man has just finished the process that has broken his heart across the last 2 years. This was the result of this chaotic celebration. I kiss her small. I kiss her small, beautiful little hand. She's a new form of hope and inspiration. I wish to write a novel that she can read one day, but for now, I just admire her sense of wonder. The old man spits. The old man spits all across the pavement as he counts the cars that come up and down throughout the day. This is how he spent the rest of his days since the death of his entire family due to his negligent driving. A small little bird. A small little bird flies along the internet web, sharing messages from all across the world, informing some, destroying others, and making few laugh. It's an interesting responsibility, that of this little bird, but it's one that he's done for over a decade. A smile and fake promises. A smile and fake promises. That's all it takes to conquer the minds of a desperate community. The battery continues to die. The battery continues to die, but the artist continues to work on his latest project, a multimedia piece that'll change the game. So he continues to work, despite his body telling him to sleep, and his computer asking for a bit of rest. Hours pass and the artist wakes up from his keyboard, and as he tries to get up, the computer stays glued to his face and his hands to the keyboard. It's something he has never experienced before. The holes in my back. The holes in my back tell stories. My last words will tell those stories. I just hope somebody's willing to hear these stories. The pain this back. The pain this back carries has been a ticking time bomb. So much knowledge carries on this back. So much stress carried on this back. This back wanted to do so much, but it was bound to be broken at some point. A paper full of goals. A paper full of goals slowly dies as the young girl slowly becomes the person she always wished to be. Desperation becomes. Desperation becomes the largest felt emotion across the world as what seems to be the apocalypse slowly comes about. Two heroes wrap their way. Two heroes wrap their way to greatness, slowly opening the minds of millions while staying true to their beliefs, unlike many idolized heroes of our time. Laughter, joy, overall fun. Laughter, joy, overall fun is experienced by a group of 3 kids while their mother dances to hip-hop and reggaeton-fueled remixes of traditional salsa, merengue, and bachata songs as a young couple slowly get accustomed to their new home in La Metro. This hair of mine. This hair of mine carries the stories of my ancestors. A blend of straight and wavy, it is a clear mix of my mommy and papi's hair and the one that came before them. So, I continue to write and document our lives and that of our communities and many more in as many poems and stories as possible until my last dying breath. Never did I think I would come to love poetry, poesía, poetría as much as I do. Never did I think it would serve as my main outlet of artistic expression. Never ever did I think this would happen, but here I am. It all started writing punk, rock, and metal songs with my friends, which were all terrible, and then some. I write by myself. Thank God I never quit, despite writing terribly for well over 10 years, or else I think I'd be more depressed than usual. Thank you to all the words that have always helped leave it all out there. And thank you to all the ones that'll come along in the future. Thank you, POETRÍA, for everything. Without you, I don't know who I'd be. I remember those days. I remember those days constantly looking up Wikipedia articles for information on different forms of art and art movements, looking to explore and grow in the process. Oh, how I wish I could have learned and put them into practice. I think I would have become a much happier person because now I feel like I'm trying to catch up with everyone. Though I always try to remind myself that this isn't a competition against others, but more of a competition against myself. I've always considered trying poetría via prose or POETRÍA, but I was afraid I would never do it correctly. Hopefully, these 121 poems do the technique some form of justice. I assure you, dear reader, this won't be the last time I practice this technique, but it has surely been the first time I do it consistently. The future holds many forms of poetría for me. I shall always continue to use it as a form of expression and therapy and documentation and storytelling device and whatever else I want to use it for. And prosoetría will always be another tool in my Batman belt that will allow me to express those.